Helo agus fáilte go trí seasced den program ag BBC Alba a bhí sa córathach na Bonnyrigh ingantach an sùil spórs na Alba. Is me Iona Ballantyne agus ha mi tolite ra go bhfuil leas-choidse agus cluicheadair hópar na Màthar Leanne Crichton colrúm san studio. Ar program na heiche nach géib si man agus ura bhólaíán agus bhir sin súlaráis ar deireadh sheachdain bheol éile an san SWPL. Bhí sin na brúnis a bhogsair Niamh Mitchell si a búlach búlia son Bonnyrigh an an eachtarí bhogsair na Alba. Agus cluinnidh sin bhon cluicheadair ballcóise Erin Carter had a bhí a cluiche 10 bliana son Bonnyrigg Rose. Leanne, welcome back to 360.
Thank you.
Let's just start with you and what you've been up to since you were last on the programme. I know you're a very busy person.
Yeah, I've been busy, but it's been good. I don't think there's anything that I can complain about. It's been a busy January. Certainly with the media stuff has been really good, and the transfer windows we know was open, and thankfully it's closed. We can stop speaking about it now. We were busy at Motherwell as well behind the scenes trying to recruit a few new faces in this window just to freshen up the squad and try and just add a little bit of competition at this stage of the season. But we've been good. We've had some good results. We've had a couple of disappointing results, but we still feel that we're in the right kind of steps that we set out at the start of the season. Our ambitions are top 6, and so far we're on track. It might take a little bit more, and we're going to need to work hard because I'm sure there's teams round about us that are going to have plenty to say about it. But no, really busy, but as I say, all enjoyment.
Are you quite happy with the transfer window and how you've added to your squad?
Yeah, it's been good. I think there'll be a couple of announcements over the coming days, which is good. We didn't need too much, but just there were a couple of injuries. We lost Amy Anderson. I think she's going to be out for maybe 6 to 8 weeks, which is a huge blow. She's been absolutely massive for us this season, instrumental in the middle of the pitch. So I think when you lose a player of that level, to try and bring in other bodies to, as I say, push the other players on. It's not to just supplement the squad, it's to complement it and add that competition so that everybody's fighting for places.
Tell us about your role with Motherwell. It's been about 18 months now, is that right? How are you finding things going? Are you quite happy with the progress and the kind of balance of both? Yeah,
it's been good. I think when you look back at where we started, and we've discussed that a couple of times since I've been on the show, and we've come a long, long way since then. Ultimately, it's about winning football matches though, and there's still at times when it comes a Sunday and you sit down and you feel that disappointment because the players are giving us absolutely everything that they've got. We are putting as much into it as we possibly can, but the league this season is really competitive at the top end. We know there's that gulf between probably the top 3-4 teams, and down the bottom there's maybe 1 or 2 teams that have struggled, but that middle section is really, really close. So for us, it's trying to always do as much as we possibly can, looking at the teams around us. They're picking up points every weekend as well, but for us, we're focused on what we're doing at Motherwell. Paul and I have got a vision, and we've asked the players, as we say, to buy into that, and so far they've done that, and they've been, exceptional in the time that we've had them. I think there's more still to come, and with that comes probably a little bit more investment and resources, but I think with what we've got just now, we're probably doing really well, and as I say, we're on track. But it's incredible to look back to where we started when we literally had nothing in a blank canvas and everything at the club. A huge credit to Paul because he's been instrumental in doing that, and I've learned so much working alongside him. It's been a brilliant learning experience for 18 months, and we bounce off each other really well, and we've got a brilliant coaching group alongside us as well.
If you look at some of your results too, like you say, you have held some of the teams at the top of the table to a draw a few times. We have. We came close obviously at the beginning of the season. Glasgow City beat us 1-0, which was late on. It took 96, 97 minutes for them to get the breakthrough. We picked up a good result, a point against Celtic a couple of midweeks ago, which was a huge result for us, and I think if you can go and match those teams, yes, it probably feels like a cup final for us when you get into these matches, but we're trying to change that mindset where we want our players to believe that regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the gulf in budgets, that it's 11 v 11 players, and we want them to believe that they can go and compete, and that was exactly what they did that Wednesday night. We were so proud of them, and you could feel the buzz in the dressing room. But from that week we play Hibs one Sunday, we then played Celtic midweek, and then we went into the game against Rangers and they defeated 7-0, which is tough, but that's because we don't have the luxury of a huge squad that you can rotate bodies. You're constantly relying on the same group of players who don't rest and go in and recover. They go to work. Are working full time too, and maybe night shifts, some of them as well.
Exactly,
is that right?
Exactly. So there's some professionals in the group, whether it's teachers and trainee paramedics, so they're full on. So we need to take all of that into account and be realistic of where we are in comparison to these other teams. But it's a belief element for me, and I think if you believe and you apply yourself as much as we're asking the players to do, every session they come to, they give us everything. We're asking them to live their lives properly away from the pitch as well, and a lot of that has changed in the time that we've been in, so we're really proud.
It's really good. It's actually great to see the progress. I know you are sitting 7th in the table. Things can change at any point, and like you say, and especially in the middle of the table, there's a lot of competition going on. Is top 6 your aim for the split?
It is, yeah, and at this stage it's probably not in our control when you look at the positions of the other teams. Partick Thistle have done really well this season again. Hibs have probably bridged the gap now and pulled away ever so slightly, but I think that can all change really quickly. So for us, it's focused on Motherwell, looking at these fixtures that are coming up, and I think we play Hearts and Glasgow City, that are the 2 teams above us. And then out with that is the teams in and around us and that are below us in the table. So there's got to be a real focus and determination that we can pick up as many points as we possibly can, and that we set our standards high every single game, regardless of who we play against. But if we could go and achieve top 6, I think it would be enormous for the club.
That'd be brilliant. It would be great to see. But let's actually talk about a few of the results just at the weekend there. Maybe, I don't want to say a few shocks, but another draw between Rangers and Glasgow City. Is that what you expected, or do you think one was going to get the better of the other?
No, I thought it would always be close. We, as I say, played Glasgow City early on in the season. I think a lot has changed since then. The management team has changed. Leanne Ross is now in position, and I know exactly the way Leanne would have looked to set our team up. We had played Rangers the week previous, and the week prior to that they had dropped points against Hearts, so they knew that there had to be a response. And I think when you look at it, it's probably a better result for Glasgow City than it would be Rangers, but there's still a long way to go in the title race. But I don't think there's too much between, you know, Rangers, Celtic, Glasgow City, and Hearts have pushed those teams as well this season in 4th spot. So I think there'll be points shipped between now and the end of the season. But it was, conditions on Sunday were tough for all the teams that played. The wind was horrendous and the rain was certainly coming down. So it's never nice to try and play football, and that's exactly what Glasgow City and Rangers try and do: get the ball down and move it and play creative stuff. So it's often tough.
There was some chat about, like you say, Glasgow City maybe being the happier side out of Rangers and Glasgow City with that point, but you know Glasgow City very well. They're still a team with that winning mindset, aren't they? Yeah,
that doesn't change. It doesn't matter that Rangers are champions. Glasgow City will still see themselves as being the top team in the country, and they will respect Rangers, of course they will, but nobody would have sat down after that and been happy with a point. It's just not the way it is at Glasgow City. It won't be the way it is at Rangers just now as well. They would have been disappointed as well, and that's why it's going to be such a competitive title race between now and the end of the season. But I think the way Leanne is, you know, I've played with Leanne Ross for a number of years, and trust me, she doesn't accept points, and if she feels that there was moments in the game that our team could have gone on and get 3 points, she would have been disappointed. But I do think when you look at the performance of Glasgow City, they looked more organised to me. They looked more of a unit, and you could see that there was much more of a togetherness, and that's no disrespect to Eileen Gleeson, who was in the job before, but I just think different managers have got a different identity and view in the way they want their teams to play, and I thought you could see that there was improvements within Glasgow City.
Because Leanne knows that Glasgow City winning side, that we're champions for so long, and what it takes for that team. Do you think it's testament to the team as well that it has been, I don't want to say a turbulent time, but it's been different to what Glasgow City were used to before when Scott was in charge for so long. There's been, Scott left, Grant Scott came in, Aileen Gleeson came in. There's been a bit of a change, and now Leanne Ross. Is it testament to the squad too that they're still in that top spot of the table despite what's going on in the background? Absolutely,
because they are a team that stand alone as well, and they don't have that financial backing, which again we've discussed a lot before. But I think what Leanne Ross is at the club just now is a constant. Laura Montgomery is a constant, Caroline Stewart is a constant. They've all been there. Those standards don't change. So behind the scenes, albeit there might have been some transitional periods on the pitch, and whether that be personnel and players or coaching staff, I think any team sport goes through that transition at some point. It's impossible to keep the same group with the same identity for decades upon decades, and we were so lucky that the group that I was part of, we had that, and that lasted. But I think it's healthy that at some point that comes to an end, then you have the opportunity to rebuild it. And I think the way I look at it just now is that it's almost that rebuild is happening, but as you say, it's a credit that they've managed to keep themselves up the top and they're still competing. That's the identity of the club though, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
It'll be interesting to see where that kind of goes, but just quickly, if we even just look at Hearts and Celtic, Hearts drop points at home for the first time this season.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be disappointed with that?
I think so, yeah. I think you can clearly see, you know, a lot of work's going on behind the scenes. I think there's a real vision and strategy at the club as well. They've invested in their player group, they've offered those finances and resources, they've brought in a full-time head coach, a pro licence holder as well, which is huge, especially in the women's game, I think, in Scotland. And as I say, you can see that there's a clear strategy there from them, and that's what you want. You want clubs to be doing more all the time. I think Hearts have went about it quietly, which is probably, again, credit to them and the way they're doing business, and I only see that team getting stronger, but hopefully it's not too strong because we face them at the weekend.
I think they have shocked a few people this season, but we can't forget Celtic, who do sit second in the table as we record this.
Yeah.
In the title race, they're way up there. They are performing week in, week out too.
They are, and they've had a strong transfer window as well. I know they had lost a couple of players. Larissy had moved on. When we played against them, Olivia Chance was away with her national team, which weakens the squad, and a couple of injuries here and there. So I think they've really made movements within the window to strengthen their attacking options as well, which is what Celtic are about. But no, as I say, it's going to be a close title race. It'll be incredible to see how it plays out, because I think there's going to be a bit of change in the format of how it looks just now between now and the end of the season.
It is so competitive, and I think the split will make a big difference too. But Leanne, thanks very much. Well, Niamh Mitchell, a héad found boxy do Bonnyrigg na Alba ag Farpais Òigridh na h-Eòrpa nuaí, rút ha eigentach or nach hel ach 3 bliana bhogsair san spórs. Bhrein sin rí Niamh, me cuide soirbheachais agus na hamas in na heice son na blianachin rihéin.
As dúigh táirse go amach an na kickbox ag an dòchasan na bhaid bhuling le Bheirach san sgioba. Bhaid Niamh Mitchell gur na skillan sapach aice na Bheir son in sport bhogsair.
I used to get bullied when I was like 5, so when I was really young I used to get bullied, and then my dad sent me to kickboxing, and then from there it kind of like I got a love for the sport, and then I went to boxing. I moved over to boxing because I couldn't get up to the kickboxing a couple of times a week because I was training in Dundee at the time, so the travelling was quite a bit. So I went to boxing, and then I liked that a lot more. I thought I could go further with it, so I moved over to boxing.
Ha cuideachd Niamh háast de héad hapach aice, agus bhfuil nuair sin an na nuinge gadait ha iad seolting a cuid talam spórs. Glachci ada sùil boxing an dòchasan na de chaide crúnach mar sár sé hapach na Alba, dash an na dábílas fichiad.
My stomach was going mad. It's actually like the worst nervous feeling in my life. Like, I hate it, but as soon as the bell goes, that's it. All the nerves drop. So, developed quite a lot. I've learnt a lot of new things, especially the jump from kickboxing to boxing. It doesn't seem like a big jump, but like different technique and everything like that. That was a massive achievement to me, and European Championships didn't even like seem possible, but then I got closer to it and then brought home the gold. That was quite a big step for me, the Scottish Championships.
An na dábílas fichiad sa gá, cha ní bennim a chur sár sé hapach na h-Eòrpa. Rút intantach leis gon de hásaí amach san spórs, deireadh 3 bliana dash.
Surreal. It's like, it's not even hit me yet. Like, I didn't even expect to win that. I didn't think I could do it, but it's crazy feeling. Well, before it, nervous, the most nervous I've been ever. And then as soon as the bell went, first round, I thought I was doing alright. And then second round, I thought I dropped a bit and I just needed like walking back up. And then third round I went into it wanting to win. It was just like an absolute adrenaline rush, like just overwhelming.
Tá Niamh Mitchell ar son a thula chorm a h-Eòrpa von spars, is íon dòchas go nuairigh bar chláiníon a bhrosnachach gus bhogsair ghiathaí.
It's good seeing like other places, like getting to travel around the world, especially with boxing in Scotland, get to see a lot of new places. It's a good way of travelling the world. I feel like, well, women's boxing is becoming a big thing now. I feel like it's a good time to get into it. It's massive to me because I look up to all these like women in boxing and they're my role models, so the fact that I could be other people's role models is quite a big achievement in itself for me.
A Niamh háast a bhíochain de féin hadis iad an buais gan aice, agus Mitchell am san taiche h-Eòrpa na Carter agus fan bhogsair. h-Eòrpa in a Cuideachd is son na blion gulí híang mar há, agus haon dòchas lá Alba rochgafu ag na génich na choláis agus na Olympics.
I don't think they expected it either. I don't think they did. I think my coach and my dad and my mum were the only people that expected me to get this far. Yeah, I feel like everyone's been supportive with my goals and what I want to achieve, so I feel like I've got a lot of support behind me. I really didn't think I could achieve that much, but I feel like I have much more to achieve and more goals to set myself. Hopefully Commonwealth Games, Youth Commonwealth first, then maybe got the eyes on the Olympics. Even just getting into the team to fight in the big events would be crazy.
Leanne, Niamh is so humble, but she should be so proud of what she's achieved. It's quite incredible.
It's amazing. It's actually so inspirational to watch her and listen to her. She's really grounded. You can see that she's down to earth and so hard working, and she's got a great team behind her. You can see that within the gym and the environment that's been created for her, and with that has come the success. But she's certainly put in the hard work, and it's just lovely to hear her story, where she's come from and how her journey started and how she's ended up where she is now.
It's really, like you say, the journey that she's been on to get to where she is now. I mean, she spoke about being bullied as a kid. You can't actually believe it's always awful when you hear that, but where she's come, how she's kind of turned that around.
Yep.
And now she's a European junior champion and probably go on to do much, much more.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, it's sad to hear that was the motivation in the beginning for her, but certainly she's taken that to a whole different level, and it comes down to, as I say, that application and determination from Niamh to apply yourself. And of course, when you figure out that you've got a talent and a skill set that works, that's one part of it, but you need to do the hard work that comes with that, and certainly that's exactly what she's doing just now. And I know at Boxing Scotland they're enormously proud of her. You know, she's worked tirelessly and she's front and centre just now for the organisation as well. That it's a huge push for women and girls to be involved in the sport just now, and they want that to be part of their strategic plan moving forward, and it already is. You know, that's why Niamh is shown the success that she is. But it's so nice for any young girl to be looking at that and listening to it with the same aspirations and dream that she could go on. And you look at the success of the Commonwealth team as well in the summer, which is incredible. Niamh can look at that now and hope that she can be, you know, go and medal at one of these games.
And that's the thing as well, Niamh spoke about wanting to be a role model. She already is, isn't she?
Yeah. I know, and she's so young as well, and as I say, humble is the word that you would use to describe her. I don't think she fully appreciates and understands what she's already achieved as she's speaking about being a role model is something that she's working towards, but already she's there for people to see. And as I say, the people around her are so proud of her. It seems like she's got a good family network behind her as well that are going to support her in everything that she wants to achieve, and hopefully she can go all the way to the very top.
I can imagine the bullies probably fear Niamh now, because I would, but
I would think so.
When you hear what she's achieved, so she only started around just over 3.5 years ago. which for one's incredible Scottish champion in 2020, and then in 2022, as you said, Scotland's first ever female gold medal at the European Junior Championships.
It's crazy. It's such a whirlwind, and for us to hear that and for you to read something like that out, it hits you. I don't know if, as I say, Niamh fully understands what she's achieved and how quickly she's brought that success, but it's not come without the hard work, and if she's achieved that in the short time frame that she's been in the sport and she's been working towards it, you can only imagine what she's going to go on and achieve in her career.
And you talk about the success at the Commonwealth Games. It was great to see what Scotland did there. It was brilliant, but actually to know that there's support there for her to go on and hopefully be at 2026.
That's it, there's a pathway, there's that vision. As a young kid, when you have those dreams and aspirations, you can look at those athletes that medalled in the summer, and that dream is achievable, and you've got the team behind you. I know at Boxing Scotland they're doing everything that they possibly can to secure more funding and give these athletes the opportunities that they deserve and the environment that they need to perform and train and prepare for competitions like that. But no, it's incredible. I think Boxing Scotland can be really proud, and Niamh certainly can be really proud as well, because as I say, she's such a young person but with huge ambitions.
It's great to hear, and it's a very exciting one to watch. We look forward to seeing actually how Niamh's career goes. If we do just head back to the SWPL, because again, as always, there's so much to talk about. Another big weekend, I suppose every weekend is a big weekend. Another big weekend. We've got Celtic taking on Aberdeen, Glasgow City versus Partick Thistle, Rangers are away to Dundee United. How do you see some of those going?
I think they'll be tight. I think there'll be some close games. It's getting to that point now where the split in the league is getting within touching distance. So every weekend now, every 3 points that's up for grabs is going to have an impact on how the league table shapes up. For us, it'll be the focus on taking on Hearts and hosting them at home this weekend, which is huge. They beat us 1-0 the last time out, which we felt was a game that we were close, and we were certainly in the match. We had chances as well, we just didn't convert. But as you mentioned there, the Hearts have got a really good record at home, and they've made that a fortress through in Edinburgh this season. And for us this weekend, it'll be about making K Park a difficult environment for Hearts to come and play and hopefully stay in the game. And as I say, every 3 points is absolutely huge. But some of the games now, as we mentioned, the teams at the top of the table will be looking to make sure they bag all 3 points until it comes back round to when they go head to head against each other. Which I think is a couple of weeks away yet before we see one of those fixtures again. But other teams are now, as I say, starting to get a little bit closer, and certainly one-off games, I think you can go and match teams.
How do you prepare for a game like Hearts this weekend?
Like every game, I think we put in the same level of analysis. We'll look back at the performance from the weekend. We'll look at what we could have done better. For us, probably scoring goals is the biggest thing just now. I think a lot of the work that we do is really good, but we need to be a bit more ruthless middle to front. So a lot of the focus in training, particularly the 2 sessions that we've got between now and Sunday, there'll be a real focus on that. But we will give Hearts the respect that they deserve, because they've had a fantastic season this far, and we need to understand and respect that. They're a good team with good players and a good manager. But for us, it'll be all about Motherwell and what we can do and how we can hopefully hurt them.
Who has surprised you most in the league this season? You've been around for a very long time.
I think when you look at Hearts, where they are in the table and where they've come from, historically, it's not a team that you're familiar with seeing at the top end of the table, certainly in that top 4. But I do believe that there's been the right level of investment that has allowed them the potential to go and compete at that top end of the table. But it's one thing investing, and it's the second part is to go and then execute that plan. So I think based on the history of the Women's League, I think Hearts are probably that team. But you've got to give enormous credit to the likes of Partick Thistle just now, who are ahead of us in the league table. And I think when you look back over the couple of seasons that they've had and through promotion and whatnot, they've achieved some really good things under Brian Graham and his staff.
Very humble, not mentioned Motherwell too.
That's just a given, surely.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all the best against Hearts.
Thank you.
And Iona Ballantyne, cluinnidh bhogsair Bonnyrigg Rose, Erin Carter. A sé t-slighe aice club ag h-Eòrpa. Va Erin agus cluicheadair an aice eile, mar farsing na chiad ard skippen an band aice club an t-slighe. Leis an darna season deireadh t-slighe, ha Erin na géisiain go bhfuil an club a gamast glúisid suas líg eile.
A ceol bhogsair ag Erin Carter éiad agus fear na páirce, le t-slighe sa géim. Thá sé sgioba Erin ag h-Eòrpa agus chaid go Bonnyrigg Rose far a bhfuil idir cluiche is an fasc éiad 10 bliana.
It was definitely a major impact on my life since I was young. Football majorly. My granddad was a referee since decades ago. My dad's played football since such a young age, and my sisters, my cousins, everyone in the family has played football, so it just kind of was me to follow on and do football next. But yeah, it's definitely been a major thing in the family. It's ran through all the decades. So I think it was at the age of 6 I joined Leanne Minors Club. I played there for about a year, 2 years. When I was 8-year-old I joined Bonnyrigg, and I'm now nearly 18 and nearly been playing for the club for 10 years. So it's been a long time at this club. It's definitely been an experience. Everyone's been so supportive. I feel like it's like one big happy family here, and I feel like I've always been welcome, so I've never had a reason to leave. So that's why I have been here for so long. I think I've got so much attachment to the club, I don't think I could ever leave because it has been so long. And just going from like 8-year-old to nearly 18, I don't think I'll leave anytime soon, that's for sure.
An t-seachdain-sa chud Bonnyrigg Rose a chiad skipan an banachcha is bhon, agus na misc bha crún cluicheadair an ága mar Erin a bha déanún slí suas fó iad fó h-Eòrpa díag, go bhí cluiche and a league ag ard.
It was a very nerve-wracking decision to make. We were on the verge of folding just because we had lost so many players. But then when we found out we were moving up, I was quite excited in a sense because my big sister Danielle was joining us. So it was like having my best friend playing alongside me, so I felt a bit more supported and a bit more confident to then make the big jump, because we are playing up against a lot older women compared to a lot of us. A lot of us are 17, nearly 18, and it was a big jump to make to then go up against like 25-year-olds and things like that. But it has been such a good experience and I wouldn't change it now. I think it was such a good move for the club to make, and it's brought a lot of an audience to the club, and it's made us more visible to a wider range of people.
Get is seo a chiad season achcha, be immert fa van gaib, agus a Erin a smungin gewillet nearstachig, a show if you dollar nice skippien na sláttere.
It has definitely helped us develop. It's gave us more encouragement to do better, because you're going up against a lot of older players and more experienced players. So for us not playing as long together, we literally joined and half the girls I'd never played with before, and we played our first game, and it was like a new family, and it was really strange at the start, but it was such a good move for everyone to make, I think. We were literally a few points off the top. We did come so close, but we did go through a lot of bumps throughout the year. We didn't have a goalie for a certain amount of time. Our goalie injured her ankle, and then we were down to not having a goalkeeper. We lost a lot of players due to injury. We just had a lot of bumps, so it was realistically a hard season to get through because a lot of players were injured, but it did help develop us more, because coming into it now we're so much stronger because we had to support each other through the difficult times. So I think this year we've got a good chance. We've got as good of a chance as any other one. I don't think people should underestimate us, so hopefully we can get the promotion this year.
An bliana han clubbe a cluiche an na season Cuideachd route úr an na líga near an SWF. Le tuilleach skippie na Farpais is an aice an na líga hun. Ha Erin a cointe d'irt the sigúlan, agus ha tollichte fechking go bhfuil fastball caution an ban an Alba, has the lenting.
It's so nice to see. We're getting so many more supporters and things coming along. Ladies football it's growing so much. So hopefully it keeps expanding, and hopefully a few more teams join the league, because it would be nice to have a bigger league and play up against new competitors. So yeah, I just hope it keeps expanding and then getting better and better. So hopefully on Sunday we can steal another 3 points and climb up the table a wee bit more. I think we've got a very good chance of the promotion, like I said, and we're just needing to build on the squad, maybe bring a few more players in, and I can't see us not winning the league at this point. I'm just praying that we do. That's all we're aiming for. We've taken each game at a time. We obviously played Aberdeen on Sunday. That was a 9-1 win. So we were just climbing up the table, especially in goals and things. We just keep scoring, and it's getting us up and up the table. So fingers crossed the rest of the season will get us further up that table.
Ha colas ma eith Bonnyrigg Rose agus ha skipper a club Erin and dòchasan a golf fata leis an skipper at sa chumagat a dol a gopad go crúi.
If everyone stays together, we'll go so far. We are so tight and so close to one another that we could go another few years without anyone leaving. That's the plan, hopefully, and hopefully a few years of promotion will get us up that table. Literally, I wouldn't change anyone or anything at the club. Everyone's so supportive and I just feel so welcome and so like a family here. So I wouldn't change anything and it just means so much to me. It's definitely promotion this year. And then playing higher levels of football because we're definitely a good enough squad to make it to higher levels. So we're just praying for that promotion, getting higher up, and we'll just be an amazing team and amazing competitors next season as well.
Leanne, what an ambitious young player and an ambitious club. How nice is it to see someone and a team just so enthusiastic?
It's brilliant, isn't it? Erin, she's such an infectious character. Just listening to her for that short time, you can hear the enthusiasm in her voice and how proud she is to be part of the club that she is, and the vision and where they've come from and the togetherness that they've got as a team. I think that's so important, and that alone is a huge part of what you would want when you try and build a successful team. So no, it's really sweet to hear her.
Quite a big change with Bonnyrigg Rose recently. Just a few years ago they were an under-18 squad, and it was April 2022 that they made the change to a senior team. What does that actually take? Well,
it's excellent that they've managed to do that, because I think that's the issue for a lot of clubs, is that they play under-18s in youth football and then it comes to the end and there's no jump, there's no gap there to be bridged between youth football and women's football. So I think to actually have that pathway at one club, and that the players that have came together as young players, and as Erin said, almost a decade she's been at the club, so that's really important. But it takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes. Of course it does, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation. I'm sure coaches and volunteers and a lot of endless hours of work that they've put into that commitment level to then have the women's team as well as the youth teams underneath it, so it's excellent.
They're very keen to climb up the ranks, so I think it'll be good to see what happens with them. Yeah. But it's definitely a lot of family connection involved, very kind of stuck in the community too. Motherwell, who you're with, are huge in the community as well. I mean, how important is it for you and for the team and actually for all the people that it helps? It's so important. I think when you're part of a club like that, you really do feel that you're part of something bigger than just a team, and whether that's in the men's side or the women's side at Motherwell, there's a complete togetherness, and a lot of those people within the community are the fans that come to games and that support you and invest in the club, but also the club give back to the community as well in many different elements and aspects of it, which is so important. And I think when you're from a place like Motherwell, where you do have the ability to tap into that close network, and similarly to the way that Erin speaks about her community at her football club, it doesn't matter the size, but I think Motherwell certainly has over the years invested an awful lot of time and attention and detail to invest in the community, and with that they've got the payback in the club that they have. And it is so important, because it's not just what happens on the pitch, it's kind of everything around it too, which is, it's really great seeing, like you say, Erin, she's so infectious, and I do hope that Bonnyrigg Rose get what they want, get that promotion and kind of keep climbing up the ranks. Absolutely. But for you with Motherwell, what's coming up next? Because it's quite a busy and important few weeks, aren't they? Yep, we've got league duties this weekend, then we've got the cup the following week against Montrose, then that takes us up to the international break, and then when we come off the back of that, it's quite a quick run in between that and the league split. So there's a lot of games to be played, as I mentioned earlier on, a lot of points to be played for, but for us it could be a really big month when you look at the prospect of, as I say, league duties this weekend, and hopefully progress within the cup as well. But none of these games will be easy, but no, there's no rest for the wicked, as they say. Oh, Leanne, it's great, and I know that top 6 is the aim. Yeah. We are so hopeful for you and the team. It's really great to hear. But thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will look forward to having you back. Thank you. Well, sinna airson in noch in a sheachdain be manager balcosha Bonnyrigh Rose Rangers Emily Dol colorum in studio. Cuideachd sin Jan Cínseach Gavelsh Valentin BBC Alba Eccles nach Calshiv programs in BJ3 Sheskid. Hishin Shiv and Ahuris.